There you go.
Super. Well, I guess I'll introduce you. Hey, everyone.
Okay. Yeah. Hello. So this is the first AMA of Kizuna, and yeah, we've got some questions already in the Telegram Kizuna community, and so we're planning to answer them today. So yeah.
So to add, this is the first AMA for the year 2021. We actually had our first AMA, the text version, last December, and so we're starting this year, trying to create some sort of momentum to keep this project alive and strong again. And today we're joined by David, who is the awesome moderator for all AMAs. He's here with us today, so you have to ask the questions from the community members. So yeah, we can start. Yes.
Super. Thanks so much. Great to be here with you guys.
Same here. Same here.
All right, so let's go for there's about 8 questions, and I might drop in a few of my own. So the first question relates to the recent crowdfund campaign. So it says, how are the further plans with the project? It seems like the Kickstarter campaign doesn't achieve the goal. Do you plan a new campaign when Holo is attracting more attention? And then in brackets, and please make a way to support you without having a credit card.
Okay. All right. So, Akira, do you want to go, or do you want me to answer?
Well, yeah. With regards to the Kickstarter campaign that we just recently did, it ran for 40 days, starting from December 2 up to January 11, total of 40 days. And throughout the campaign, we were able to raise $15,885 US of the $47,987 goal from 120 backers all over the world. I think it's around 10 plus countries. We weren't able to achieve the goal this time. However, we don't think this is the end for Kizuna. I think 120 backers is something to be grateful for, and it's a proof that people want this. And throughout the campaign, we've received so much support from people, so much heartwarming support from people who have heard about the project for the first time, people who have followed us on social media throughout the months leading to the crowdfunding campaign. So even though we didn't make it this time, it's not the end of the road. We believe that we still have a lot to learn, and so we will be doing that as we move on to the future. So the plan is to just keep going. We're going to be looking for a better timing for a Kickstarter campaign or possibly another crowdfunding campaign. We think that the timing for this campaign that we did it was around the time after the elections in the US. And so we think that also that kind of confusion on the West side had a bit of an impact, and also not to mention the pandemic where people are just really just more focused on themselves. But with that in mind, and all the learnings that we have gained throughout the months, we are still going to move forward with Kizuna. And so there will be new plans of crowdfunding soon, possibly some other fundraising programs that we would be having. And yes, speaking also to answer one of the concerns here, which is the Mateo, one of the active members in the Telegram community, said, please make a way to support you without having a credit card. And Tats and I actually just worked on that over the weekend. We made the donation page for Kizuna on our website. We would be sending and linking all the links to the resources down below as we upload this tomorrow. So yeah, basically you can support us now without having a credit card. You can pay through crypto, Bitcoin, HOT, or Ethereum. So we made that method available for everyone, so everyone can take part in Kizuna. So yeah.
Oh, David, I think you're muted.
You're muted. Yeah.
Yep. Thanks.
Sure.
Thanks, guys. Okay, so the next question. Here we go. Hi, I was a contributor to the Kickstarter raise and received the email you didn't reach your goal. Does that mean the end of the project or development?
Yeah. Well, I think that was partly answered the first question, but again, it's not yet the end of the project, and we've actually sent a just like just like, how do you pronounce this handle? Toll Booth Willie said. We sent an email explaining our future plans and how we plan to move forward from here. And it's not that we're gonna stop developing it. We're still continuing to develop it, and we're still developing it even right now. So yeah, just like what Akira explained, we're trying to look into other ways to fund the project, one of which we explained in the email as well. So we are gaining some local interest as well here in Japan. And so, yeah, exploring those different options as of the moment as we continue building the application itself.
Yeah, it seemed like there were quite a few exciting developments in that email.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, as we explained in the email, we so one of the kind of like new political parties in Japan showed interest in having their kind of like communication channel built in with Holochain, basically, in Kizuna. And this is one of the things that we kind of like were planning to do after we build the accessible open sourced one, which is like allowing organizations and businesses and whatnot to sort of run their own communication channel without it being optional. Well, you can host it in Holo optionally, but then you can completely host it locally as well, right? And so right now we're also gaining interest in that area. So that's something exciting, and we're gonna continue to update the community as we move further with this plan as well. Yeah.
Anything to add, Akira?
Nope. That's perfect. You answered that one.
Okay, super. Okay, so the next one comes from Eric. It says, hi. Yesterday I found out about this project and I made a pledge because I think the world needs this kind of distributed app. One thing worries me a bit though. Recent developments make it clear that tech giants like Google and Apple can ban an application, in this case Parler, from their app store. I assume that they could do the same to Kizuna. Do you have any thoughts on this?
I guess I could start answering that question. Thank you first of all, thank you for pledging, Eric, and we really appreciate the support. So first of all, thank you for that. And to answer your question, so like we've also heard about this news where Parler, the social media application, the new social media application, got, I think, banned from the Apple Store and probably from Android as well, right? From Google. And so I guess I could first elaborate on what this means for Kizuna. So Kizuna right now is planned to be it's being developed as a mobile app first, right? But we're building the user interface so that it can also be offered through web and also as desktop application. So there is a certain risk, like I guess there's always that risk of being removed from the platform, but we're also trying to have Kizuna be accessible from different platforms so that people always have a way to communicate with the people that they want to. And again, it's not just about, like, if you think about Google and Apple, that's like the kind of like the user interface side of things. But in terms of like hosting your data, right? I think Parler also got, I think AWS stopped hosting them as well. I'm not well, correct me if I'm wrong, and don't quote me on that. But I've heard that news as well, and that is also a risk, right? Any centralized applications that kind of like relies on the centralized hosting services like AWS. You could say Azure as well, and I don't know, Google. I think they also have the cloud. So yeah, that's also a risk. But in Holochain, again, you could literally in the future run Holochain locally in your device and run Kizuna locally in your device as well. And you don't even need to have a remote place to host your data. You can directly talk to other agents in the same network in Kizuna if they have their Holochain running locally or maybe hosted in Holo. Yeah, and even Holo is in itself is distributed, so there's more resilience into that. So I guess we are lowering the risk of us, actually you guys not being able to have Kizuna as one of the communication tools that you would like to use it as, right? So yeah, I hope that clarified your. I hope that was an answer to the question, but that's my comment on it.
Okay, super. All right, so next question. It's come up, I've seen this come up a lot in different places, but would it be possible to pivot towards a new version of Telegram that would receive massive funding and is a gap in the market that needs filling?
I'm not sure if okay. Yeah, I'm not sure if the question is about like marketing Kizuna as like the new version of Telegram, or like having it like more features like Telegram.
Like probably, like we could probably take both approaches.
Okay. Yeah, well, from the technical perspective, I guess I'll answer that side. There are, well, since both are considered chat applications, they both have similar features that we all can interface with, right? But in terms of how we are storing data, or where it is stored, and where the keys to access that information are stored, are very much different from how Telegram is architected. And I'm not an expert in Telegram, so I don't really know in exact manner how they are working underneath. But yeah, in terms of the user-facing interfaces, they would have similar features. And I think like we've been focusing more on like peer-to-peer chats, group chats, peer-to-peer video calls, voice calls. But recently, I think I've been thinking that like I've been thinking it would also be nice for individuals to be able to broadcast themselves to a large number of people. Like Holochain, I think, is also pretty good at that kind of communication form. And so being able to provide a feature might be also nice. It really depends on like how much it is wanted as well. So right now, you could expect us having peer-to-peer chat, group chat, peer-to-peer voice and video call in the first, at least, kind of like closed alpha version of Kizuna. Yeah. So.
All right, so next one. So for a user, how would Kizuna differentiate from other chat applications? And so we have two questions here that are sort of the same. One from David Jones and one from Marcus. So David Jones is asking, how would Kizuna differentiate from Element, Riot, Matrix, and then Marcus from Signal? So maybe we could just look at them all at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, so I think I'll go with this again. This is again from a technical standpoint. Okay, well, Matrix, which is Riot and Element. I think Element changed to Riot. I forgot, but they're using Matrix as a kind of like a protocol underneath their chat application. Signal has their own, but actually Matrix is based from Signal's open source protocol. And one of the main things that differentiate, I guess, Kizuna from these two applications is that it is architected in, how do I say it? So first, the difference between Kizuna and Signal is that Signal is a client-server architecture, which means that whenever I communicate with someone in Signal, usually my data is also, of course, encrypted and never gets read by anyone else, designed to be that way. But when the receiver of my message is offline, that message sits on a server, and that server is then tasked to send that message to the receiver whenever that receiver comes back online. So there's that server that is acting as the always online kind of like computer to send messages to multiple people, right? In Kizuna, so there are two ways to do it, and I'll try to answer them shortly. So one is to do it with Holo, right? So you could host your own source chain or your personal data in a remote computer that is called Holoport, and that Holoport is then tasked to talk to other Holoports that are hosting other people's data. And in that sense, you have more, so it's much more distributed. And so it's much more resilient. And also it makes it very difficult for malicious actors to access tons of information, right? So that's one huge benefit. And there's so many ways to kind of like configure your network, and it, I think, will be nice because it then can suit different use cases, right? Like if an organization wants their own communication network, then they can literally set up or maybe get their own holoports and host their data there and be able to communicate as if there was a cloud company that is always hosting their data. But this time it's kind of like local because your holoport is there, but it's also like in a cloud. So there's always that excitement as well in filling different kind of need, not just for individuals, but as well as for organizations. So so those are the routes that we are also exploring as well. So I guess that's one of the main differences of Kizuna to them. Akira, you want to add anything, or is it?
No, I think that was good.
Mm-hmm.
You answered it well.
Okay, yeah. So now the technical one. Will Kizuna use Holofuel to host the app?
Yeah. Just to answer the question, yes. I mean, we will use Holofuel to pay for our hosting of the Kizuna messaging app. But we are not yet there is no kind of like user-facing feature that allows them to interact with Holoport in any way yet. right? Like, so like you can't send not Holoport, but Holofuel. You can't send Holofuel from Kizuna or anything, receive Holofuel. But maybe in the future we could do like, if you would like to kind of, pay for a hosting fee to kind of like store or maybe host a certain network or certain data, you could pay that with Holofuel. So those are features that we could go with, but at least that's not yet kind of like the planned feature for the first releases of Kizuna, at least for now.
Okay, so a couple of questions from Siddhartha here. So has the Kizuna team developed any other apps? I'm not asking if they have experience, just interested to try out if you have any other apps. And then with the recent data concerns on WhatsApp, we're seeing people move to new apps like Signal. How is Kizuna positioned to catch this wave?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, so I think I'll answer the first question.
Mm-hmm.
The short answer is yes, we have developed. So the Kizuna team actually comprises of two development companies that are, well, two development startups. And one is in the Philippines, one is in Japan. And we were actually doing kind of like outsourcing projects first, and then later moved into developing our own application, one of which is a mobile application called Doko, Doko with a question mark. We can put the link to that in the description once this video is released. But it was developed, I think, 2 years. Is it already 1 year? 2 years. 1 year. Oh no. 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. It was built. We developed it 2 years ago, and basically, doko is a Japanese word actually, which means where, and it was primarily tried to serve the foreign, what do you call that? Foreign tourists in Japan. So when you open the app, a map shows up which indicates like restrooms and
Smoking areas,
trash bins, because like,
Mhm.
fun fact, in Japan it's very hard to find trash bins. I'm not sure if for people who went here, they might have realized that as well. It's very hard to find one, and there's a good reason about that as well. But yeah, so we built that store and released it in the app store so people could access that if they would like to. Unfortunately, we have not really worked on it in a while because of the pandemic, and there was really no people to serve the application for now, at least. So we're resting that there, but people can download it and see that. So yeah, that's for the first question.
Yeah. For the second question, thank you, Siddhartha, for the question. I think it's an interesting one. So just give a refresher to everyone. WhatsApp actually released their updated privacy policy, I think the other day. And basically what they're saying is that your information will be shared. WhatsApp receives information from and shares information with the other Facebook companies. So, and this has caused, as they say, an exodus or an exit, from many users. People were leaving WhatsApp and they were jumping into Signal and other secure messaging applications. And I think it's a very interesting time for us, and I do see that wave happening. So we are positioning ourselves as contrary to the WhatsApp where they share their information across their other giant tech companies like Facebook, Instagram, right? For us, it's on the other side, which is you own your data, right? Our Kizuna is built or written on Holochain, and you basically own your data, and no one else has control over it, right? And however, the bigger challenge that we see here is that people can just switch into, say, Signal um, very easily because it's already out there. The challenge with us with Kizuna is that we are still in development, and so for us to even have that fighting chance of going head to head with Signal and those other secure messaging applications, we'd have to build it first, obviously. So yeah, that's basically our position, is that we are contrary to what WhatsApp is doing to users' data. We give you the control over your data.
Mm-hmm.
Super. Thanks, guys. Okay, a couple of just reflection questions. So, what would you guys do differently if you're starting the crowdfund campaign now? What would you do differently to?
That's a really good question. I'll go ahead with this, stats. You can add
Yeah.
it later.
Sure.
But I can speak from the community marketing kind of crowdfunding side. So I was the one mainly touching on the Kickstarter side of things, as well as social media and whatnot. Um, and so it was a lot of work, first of all, for one person, but I got a lot of support from people who have done it before, people who have given us great feedback that made the campaign look what it is today. Without them, we wouldn't be really where we are right now. So to answer your question, what would I do differently? Speaking from the marketing side, is I think we've seen this in Junto before. What they did was amazing. They built the grassroots community first. They had that going before they did the crowdfunding campaign. I think that's one of the most crucial things, one of the best crucial things that they did. But for us, for Kizuna, we didn't have that prior to the start of the campaign, and so we had to pick up. The crowdfunding campaign was picking up slowly, and then it kind of plateaued towards the second, third weeks. Um, so what would I do differently? It's to reach out to more people who are, passionate about data privacy, people who are passionate about distributed technologies. Um, these people, these groups, programs, and organizations. I would contact them first. Make sure to get their support first. Um, yeah, and I think that especially in these types of open source long haul projects, kind of software projects, right? I think what matters most is not the rewards. It's the believers, those people who actually believe into the vision of the project. And so I would I would get to them as soon as I can. That's what I would do differently. Yeah.
Great, thank you. And what did you learn most during the campaign? I guess they're kind of related questions.
They are. Yeah, yeah. Um, what I learned is that well, there will be just kidding, but I was thinking like the sleepless nights, but just kidding. But what I learned most really during the campaign is that there's really a demand, or people really like uh, these types of projects, and it's really really heartwarming to see those people who have supported us all over the world, donating $5, $10, sometimes even like $1,000. Those are really heartwarming. And um, what I learned most is that these people are inspiration to us. And in these types of open source projects, nonprofit projects, I think people are the core of these projects, and that we need them to kind of push the project forward as well. For me, that's my most important learning. Um, mm, you're muted. That's
Okay, my bad. For me, it's more in terms of the crowdfunding and doing the crowdfunding itself. I think um, the timing of things matter a lot. Like well, at least I felt like it mattered more than I thought it will. And there are three main things that comes up to my mind, which is like, first is it would be much better if people have access to something that they can interact with, right? It's like that's why I think the recent um, testing of the elemental chat is really great, because like, I mean, we've always had in Holo the admin panel, but now we also have a way to interact with different people through Holochain. And if we could do something like that with Kizuna as well next time, that would be um, like it because like today and this time we did like videos, pictures, texts, and like that gives you a certain level of information, but being able to actually use it and interact with the application that is distributed gives a different kind of information to people as well. And so that's, I think, one. Second is, of course, the momentum of the underlying framework, which is Holochain and Holo as well, right? I think in the well, yeah, I'm not gonna give specific time because I'm not part of the team, but like when the time comes that we actually can have people try Kizuna on Holo and whatnot, and they know, and they can have it in their device and use it, and communicate with people. That's gonna give another layer of momentum for us as well, I think. And of course, third, it's the community, right, as well. Just like how Akira explained it in details. People who know about us were I guess too small, but the timing, like the recent happenings of the social media application providers doing and like things that are at least have not been that common, I guess, like um, the ones in Twitter and whatnot, is something that at least allows people to think about the applications that they have been using on a daily basis. And right, we never thought about like what application providers could do to individuals, and now we see it happening. And no matter who it is, it still is happening, right? And that's a fact. And that these providers have massive power to if you relatively think about it, like being the players of the network, us being the users, them being the providers, right? In Holochain, you as the user of the applications have so much more um, agency, right? We always use that word in Holochain. You have more agency to make your own choices, who you want to interact with, and your data is never held hostage against you, right? There's no one day there will be like, there's not gonna be like a day where your data is gone, you can't access it anymore, it's locked from you forever. Like there's not that kind of happenings in Holochain, especially if you're running it natively. So yeah, so for me, allowing people to know those also from now on is going to be crucial, because people have their attention towards these kind of problems, and I think it's going to keep growing, and we're going to see more of it. Unfortunate, well, I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunate, but yeah. So anyway, so that's just those are just my learnings from this experience. And yeah, we're just going to keep developing so that the day we can show something to people is sooner than later.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks so much for the reflections, guys. Is there anything else you wanted to address in this AMA that wasn't answered in these questions?
Not really. Well, I think it was addressed already. Yeah, so I'm good. Again, we've set up a different donation channel. So for those people who would like to support Kizuna in any way, there is you could just go to the Kizuna.Foundation webpage and you'd see there a donate button, and you could just go click it, and we've prepared the way for you guys to be able to do it. And again, if anyone would do that, we really appreciate it. And yeah, let's continue building this project, and I think this year is going to be really interesting.
Yeah.
Super. Well, thanks so much. Thanks for inviting me, guys. It was a pleasure to be here with you both.
Yeah,
Thank you,
too.
David.
Thank you too, David, as always, from the first AMA to now. Thank you for hosting it. Yeah. So hopefully we see everyone again soon, and next time we're probably going to do it live so that there may be some interaction. Maybe, I don't know how it works, but anyway, that's all from me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.